Hi, everyone. This is Raquel.
Hi, and this is Jennifer.
Welcome to Madness Cafe.
This is a feminist podcast where we talk about women's issues, politics, and health and wellness.
And where those issues intersect. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Madness Cafe. Today, it's going to be just a Raquel and Jennifer episode. Yay! Yay!
Well, we haven't had one in a while.
That's true. We haven't had one in a while, and it's good to have these. I mean, the feedback that we get from people is that they like the episodes where it's just the two of us sometimes. So here you go, people. Today is one of those days where we are going to kind of talk about life as it is, right? Like I've been feeling really melancholy, I think is the word that I used with you before we started recording, Jennifer. My life, it's for people who don't know, which I don't know how much detail I've gone in on the show, probably not much. I recently moved into a new apartment, and usually my screen is blurred because there's so much, like there's boxes everywhere and all this stuff. And it's gotten better because the screen's not blurred. So I'm letting people see. I've got some stuff, done, like the boxes aren't as bad. So that's cool. That's a whole process. And moving is stressful, like not just the process of packing and moving, but the cost of moving. And then I'm living alone again, which thank the sweet Lord I'm able to do again. But I'm also now paying more in rent, which that's a stressor in and of itself, regardless of the fact that I'm very happy being on my own again. I love living alone. It is what I prefer. I have my own space. I'm decorating again and all this kind of stuff, making it my own. But it's a stressful thing. There's a lot that comes with it. So that's been a thing. And I lived with other people for so long. So the apartment full of furniture that I had before, I had to get rid of most of it. So now I'm replacing things. And I would love to be able to just replace everything all at once and just drop a bunch of money and have everything in place in a couple weeks. But that's not my reality. I make a decent salary, but it's not, I mean, I'm not wealthy. And so that's kind of a stressor because I would love for everything to be tidy and neat and all the things and everything where it should be all at once. But that's not my reality right now. So that's all adding to my stress, which I think a lot of us, and this is something that we wanted to talk about, is we want to talk about this kind of stuff, the real things that are going on in our lives, because we so often don't talk about these things because we think, oh, A, nobody wants to hear it. B, other people are going through things worse than me. C, I'm supposed to be happy all the time. I'm not supposed to talk about it, all this, blah, 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 blah. I think it helps me to know that I'm not the only one going through stuff. And one thing that's really hard for me in talking about this, because it's not just the move, and we'll get into all that later, but I don't want to monopolize the entire episode, but
you go for it.
Thank you. But one thing that I struggle with, and I may be struggling with this for a while because I've been struggling with it for my entire life, basically, but I've always been a little hesitant to share what's really going on in my life because I'm afraid of being judged.
Oh, yeah.
And as a kid growing up, we went through long stretches where things were really financially difficult for us. I mean, really, really, really difficult. And I never told people growing up about any of that. I never told, like, people outside of the house. I never told anybody.
Friends, like your friends.
Yeah, none of my friends knew. I almost never invited friends over because our house didn't look like my friends' houses, or what I assumed all of my friends' houses looked like. We talked before about how I had all these assumptions that everybody else's life was perfect, and you're like, no, that wasn't true.
Everybody had assumptions. It wasn't just you. We all had assumptions that turn out they maybe weren't so true.
Yeah. So there's that too. It's hard for me to drop the veil and to drop the mask sometimes, because I don't want people to judge me or to judge my home, or, back then to judge my family or any of that stuff. Right. So I struggle with that because I don't want other people to struggle with that stuff. So there's a whole lot of do as I say, not as I do when it comes to me. I mean, less so than there used to be. I mean, I am getting better. I do work on these things, but.
So you described your current state of feeling as melancholy.
Mm-hmm.
What does melancholy feel like?
There's a low level, not exactly sadness, but maybe that's part of it. But for me, I feel like oh shit, the tears are coming. I feel like I'm letting myself down, and I feel like I'm letting other people down, which just objectively I'm doing really well, right? But here we go. I'm going to do that whole like grief comparison thing, but I'm in a much better place than I was even a year ago. I'm making decent money. Is it enough that I don't have to worry about things? No, it's not. Do I think that it's ever going to increase at my current job? I don't think so, which is a frustrating thing. So melancholy for me feels like a combination of like low level sadness with disappointment and stress tossed in for good measure.
For some extra kicks.
For some extra oomph.
All right, let me pretend and play amateur therapist here.
Okay.
Sadness. I also, just so you know, I'm just going to tell you, but we're not going to dissect it today. I often fall in a melancholy mood, and that is the way that I describe it to people too.
Okay.
I've been hit by my melancholy, and for me, sometimes it comes just out of the blue. I don't know why I'm melancholy, but I know what you mean. To me, it feels like if I had to describe it with a color, to me, it feels like a very mild blue, like I feel blue, but not explosive blue. Okay, so you said sadness. What are you sad about?
I think I'm sad that I feel sad because I feel like I haven't realized my potential.
Yep. You've said that.
Yeah. And, I feel like I haven't achieved all these great things that I think adults expected of me when I was growing up, that I then expected of me growing up. I think we're doing really amazing things with the podcast, and that brings me so much joy and so much pride, but I want it to be more, and we're getting there. I mean, we're only a year in, so I'm not knocking the podcast at all, but I want it to be more, and I want it now. Right. I want to feel like I'm having an impact beyond my own nose.
The reason of existence.
Yeah.
You want to know what
I want to know what my purpose is.
Yeah, you want to know what your
purpose is. Right. And I feel like the podcast is a huge part of it. I really do. And maybe some people think that's silly because, oh, it's a podcast. But this is amazing for me. This podcast brings me so much pride, and I'm so excited about it. And I want it to be more. I want to reach more people. And so then I beat myself up about that because
why haven't we?
Because A, why haven't we? B, why haven't I personally done more? Like why, I feel like I'm not picking up the slack, right? I could be doing X, Y, and Z and all these amazing things, but then I get home from a full day of work
and you're tired.
And I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I just want to like stare at a moving picture, which is, I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely in a phase of beating myself up for sure, which I'm a champion self-flagellator. I'm a champion.
Yeah, well, you just touched on something that I think is really important because I think we all do it. And I think it's a byproduct of capitalism in the fact that we all work at least 40 hours, right? If we have a full-time job, we work at 40.
Yeah.
So getting up at whatever god awful hour, our alarm clocks are going off to wake us up. We're not even like ready to wake up. We have to wake up because the alarm clock's going off. And I'm saying this, a lot of you know I quit my job, so my situation has changed, but I have been in that life since I was 16. I've been working since I was 16, not full-time, but pretty close after that. So we wake up, we're not ready, we hustle around, we maybe get some food, we maybe don't, we run out the door, we're on to work. We work at least 8 hours. That is the majority of our day. Then we hop back in the car and we drive back home. And I don't know about you, but okay, I will tell you a secret. And maybe I've said this before. When my kids were little, on the way home, I used to drink an energy drink so that I could be present with them.
Yeah.
Because I was so tired, but I knew I only had 2 good hours before they went to bed. So I popped an energy drink just so I could give them something of myself.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say to you is you are not alone in this. Like that, I wanted nothing more than to just lay in my bed. I was exhausted. Exhausted.
Yeah.
We do it every week and we do it again and again. And it is, I don't know. It's not a good system. It's not productive to having a fulfilling life. And if you are feeling like you're not picking up the slack on the podcast because you have a full-time job and you can't swing 5 more hours at night, that is an unrealistic expectation upon yourself.
Yeah. But, partly that's who I am. I want to be able to give my best to everything that I do. And when I don't, or when I can't, I then get in my head about it. It's also conditioning, it's social conditioning that we're supposed to be 150% all the time.
Everything to everybody all the time.
Yeah.
Never.
And God bless y'all who have kids, because if I had a kid right now, or at any point during my adult life, if I had another human being that I was trying to keep safe and raise and help them become a decent human, that would not be a decent human.
You would be fine. You would have done it, Raquel. You would have done what you had to do. You would have popped energy drinks too. There are years of my life that I don't even remember. I was just putting one foot in front of the other. Do what I had to do to make enough money to pay a mortgage, to get my kids to school, to feed them at night, get them in bed, and start again in the morning. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You would have done it. Is it like the great? I mean, this is the existential thing, like the purpose of our life when we start thinking about it. Was it ideal for my kids? Probably not.
See, I wonder about stuff like that because
Probably not.
yeah, but because I think, and this is coming from somebody who doesn't have kids, but when I hear women who work outside the home say exactly what you're saying, I always feel like but what if I always feel like that other situation would be, what if I had just stayed home with the kids all the time? I think that's not necessarily good for kids either, because your kids wouldn't have seen you, especially you raising daughters, would not have had an example of someone in their life who works outside the home, deals with all the pressures outside of home, but still comes home and
high on energy drinks.
Sure, high on energy drinks, high on caffeine. Everybody's got something, but then also coming home and the house is functioning.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, this problem is the same problem with or without kids. It doesn't matter if you have kids in the equation.
Yeah.
What I am saying is, we as women, probably men too, we as women give so much of our lifeblood to our place of employment for an exchange of a wage, and the wage may suffice and it may not suffice.
Yeah.
There were times in my life when the wage was not enough to make it.
Yeah.
Enough to even pay the bills.
Yeah.
And put the rest on credit cards. Right.
Yeah,
and then
it's hard.
And there's some people that don't have credit cards.
Yeah.
And then there were other times when there was more money available or whatever. And so maybe the wage for work balance was better, but we still only have 7 days in the week. We spend 5 of them at work. The majority of that time we are at work. We have a couple hours in the evening to chill. And then, kids or without kids, we beat ourselves up. I hear you beating yourself up for not achieving more. And what the fuck? We've only got this is part of the reason why I left my job, which is kind of counterintuitive, because I still need the money. We got to still figure that all out at some point. It's an existential question in the United States. It's not fulfilling.
Yeah.
We are not fulfilling ourselves in this mission.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in that whole situation, I am fairly lucky in that there are great parts about my job that I really like. I've been in jobs where there was nothing I liked about it. And it wasn't paying enough, right? I've been in those jobs before, and there are plenty of people who are in that same situation.
Exactly.
So I'm one of the fortunate ones that I have a job where I work with people that I really like, and there are days that are so very, 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 very stressful. And I feel like I have a million and one things like being thrown at me at one time, which everybody does. But some days, like this past week, this was one of those weeks where I was just stressed out of my mind. I'm trying to keep everything, all the balls in the air, trying not to disappoint anybody, trying to do my job really, really, really well, trying not to upset my boss, still trying to be perky, smiley Raquel that everybody knows and loves, that I know and love generally. But then there's everything coming at me and all the things. And Thursday, migraine hit.
Of course.
Migraine hit, and I was just like, and I am down for the count. It was just, it's like everything just,
well,
so I was off work on Thursday, and I literally was just a bump on a log on Thursday. I just laid in bed and slept most of the day.
I gotta say something.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, because you said you just talked about the tremendous amount of stress and pressure you were under, and you were doing really well. You were juggling it all. And then you came home and you didn't want to allow yourself to have rest. You were like, I want to do more when I get home, right? I want to unpack. I want to work on the podcast. I want to do all this. You're already tired. And we are conditioned to think, I don't get to rest when I get home. I have to be more productive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is funny when we list it out because it's like the impossible standard. And then, okay, so you're like, so you're mad at yourself because I just worked so hard at work and I juggled all this, but I got home, but I wasn't productive when I got home. So now I'm really mad at myself. So I go back to work and I do it again. And I don't allow myself to rest. Guess what? Your body said.
Yep. My body said, nope, not
your
today.
Body said, here's
a migraine.
I'm going to give you a symptom that's too hard to ignore so that you have to rest.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. On Thursday, I was down for the count.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the bigger question.
Okay.
Why, and we interviewed Nicole Wilden a couple of weeks ago about her book, and she said she was conditioned her whole life. She wasn't even able to like sit down and read a book. She had to be productive all the time. Mm-hmm. Why did we internalize this so much? Why is this such a big part of our culture that the only time we're allowed to rest and even arguably so not so much then is when we go on vacation?
And speaking of vacation, Americans are woefully lacking.
Under vacationed?
We are under vacationed.
Yeah. So
and most of us don't even take the little bit of time that we do get for vacation, right? I mean, other countries get way more.
No, because if you take your whole vacation hour allowance, people look at you like, oh my gosh, you're taking your vacation.
Yeah, exactly. And I spent years not taking all of my vacation time. Years.
And why?
Like I prided myself at one company that I worked at where it would roll over whatever you didn't use. And I remember it was, I don't know, maybe like my second or third year there, that I had so much vacation time. And I say it like I'm proud of it, but thinking back, I'm like, wow, that was crazy. I had so much vacation time that I literally took from Thanksgiving to New Year's off.
Wow.
Like all that time in the middle, and did not make that much of a chunk out of, or a dent in my vacation time allotment.
But okay, but let me ask you, when you were doing that, when you were not taking your vacation time that you had earned, earned that vacation time.
Yeah.
What was driving you not to take it?
Guilt.
That's it.
Guilt.
And what drives you at night when you think you can't rest?
Guilt. And I will tell you, I had an internal argument like you would not believe about calling out sick with a migraine on Thursday.
Exactly my point.
And I felt so guilty. I felt like I was letting people down. I felt like, well, how dare I get a migraine?
You got a migraine because how dare you didn't let yourself to rest.
That is very true.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, it all makes sense. It all makes sense because I hadn't taken, I don't even remember. Oh, the last time I took time off, which, I mean, I wasn't sick, but I took time off when I moved in here, which was 2 months ago. And trust me, those were not days off.
No, they're not. And that's the thing.
Was doing all kinds of crap.
And that's the thing, Raquel. I've seen people use their vacation days to move, like you said, use their vacation days to paint their house. I know a guy who used his entire vacation one year to travel to his father's funeral. That is not a vacation.
That is not a vacation.
Some companies don't have bereavement. I'm glad you brought this issue up today. This is a tremendous issue in our country.
Yeah.
I did something similar. I did go on vacation, but I always took my laptop with me. Mm-hmm. And I prided myself on, you know, I get up every day and I run or I walk.
Yeah.
I did on vacation too. And then when I got back from my run or my walk, I got on my email and I did all my emails and I answered everybody and I worked for 2 or 3 hours
Wow.
a day before I went out with my kids to do something. And I did that every day on vacation. And I prided myself on that. Here is the problem. What is the self-worth that is derived from A, you not taking your vacation, or B, from me going on vacation and working on is it I am superior to all of you because I work through my vacation? Is that what it is? I am more valuable than all of you because there's something, because I did derive a lot of self-worth from that.
Yeah. And I will tell you, I derive a lot of self-worth from work.
Same.
And before, when I was like right after I graduated from law school and for probably decades after, I held so much identity in, oh, I'm a lawyer, oh, I'm a lawyer, oh, I'm a lawyer. But there was also that shame that I wasn't practicing and I wasn't getting jobs that were law related, and I definitely wasn't making lawyer money. And so that there was that huge struggle between, yeah, I'm so proud that I graduated from law school, I've got my JD, look at me, I'm so smart and great, and oh shit, I'm not doing anything that reflects what I just said. It was a huge problem for me because I was like, I'm not a worthy human being because I'm not a practicing attorney and I'm not making gajillions of dollars. It took so much therapy and so much concentrated effort on my part to separate those two and to redefine happiness for me, and just but and yes, that was good and I did all that work, but there's a part of that that's still there. That core of it is still there. And I think you're right. I think it's capitalism, it's society conditions us this way. And I grew up with it firsthand. My mom identified so much with her job that that's who she was. She was an educator. That was her entire life, was she was an educator. And then when she retired, I mean, for the longest time, my mom was not happy at all.
Because she didn't know her identity without her job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, how about this? Look, I'm so important. They can't live without me while I'm on vacation, so I can't go on vacation.
Yep.
Maybe I was telling myself something like that. Oh, I'm so important that I can't even take a day off. I at least have to answer all my emails.
Yep.
That's bullshit. I'm not that important.
I think it's a little bit of a fear too of, oh shit, if they can still get along just fine without me, then why do they keep me? Right. I know that comes up for me all the time. And that comes up for me, especially in my current position. There has been a lot of change in my office over the last year and a half, 2 years. Of the people that were there when I started, staff wise, besides my boss, I'm the only one left. That's a huge fear for me of shit. If people can get along just fine when I go on vacation, then fuck. What job security do I have? Damn,
But what I have noticed is that people get along just fine, sort of. They make concessions and they put things off the plate until you get back because they want you to enjoy your vacation.
Yeah.
But they do need you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do realize that. I mean, I do a lot at my job. And so and then there's this other thing that's been floating over my head. I wonder how much everything that's going on with me is also affected by being postmenopausal.
Oh, girl. I have had that conversation with at least 6 people in the last 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes. I mean, because most of the people I hang out with are my age, but I was camping this weekend with my brother and my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law is younger than us by maybe, I don't know, by maybe 8 or so years. My brother's 6 years younger than me, so somewhere around there.
Okay.
She is going through what they call perimenopause, which, is the lead up to menopause. And I don't know how the conversation came up, but she's like, I don't know, I'm having all these weird symptoms and I go to the doctor and they don't tell me anything. And she's like, I have weight gain and I have this. And I'm like, all of it, me too. And I have no answers. Nobody talked about it. Nobody talks about it. And I have had that conversation with at least 6 friends. We are all at this point and there's no information.
Yeah, there's nothing. And I've mentioned on the show, I don't know, at least a half a dozen times that I want us to do a show on menopause. And so I've been doing some research and trying to find an expert to come on the show. And it's not been easy. First off, because there hasn't, like, everybody that I've found, like looking on Instagram, doing internet searches, looking on TikTok, looking on Facebook, looking at all the things, most of the experts that I find are from the UK, which is great. We may end up going that route, but I'll start to get pissed because I'm like, why don't we have any experts here in the US? Like, I get really upset by that because I'm like, wait a minute. We are an industrialized nation. We are one of the most powerful countries in the world. We suck at a lot of things, this being one of them. What the hell? So I get all up in my head about that and, have a rage moment about that. I find, there's all these people in the UK, there's a woman in Canada, and you and I think you and I both follow her, Dr. Jen Gunter.
Yes.
I want to have her on the show.
I
want to have her on. Oh, you did? She said yes. I mean, she said no.
She didn't respond.
She didn't respond. Well, damn.
I mean,
maybe
she's very big.
Yeah. So I have looked into, I think it's one of the groups that she mentioned on We Can Do Hard Things with Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach and
sister.
And sister. Yeah, Glennon's sister. What's her name? I can't remember her sister name. Anyway.
Sorry,
sister. Sorry, sister. I can't remember your name right now. I'm assuming they listen regularly.
Yeah. Sorry, sister, that we forgot your name. Please reach out to us and have us on your show, and then I will never forget it again.
Ever. I will apologize profusely in person via Zoom.
Yeah, I might even get a tattoo of your name on my arm if you have us on the show so that I never forget it again. I'd be willing to do that to be on your show.
Same.
We'll get matching tattoos, sister, with your real name on it.
That's awesome. So one of the groups that Jen Gunter recommended was the North American Menopause Society. So I'm looking on there trying to find somebody. So we'll see if we can find anybody. Hopefully we can. Or anybody listening, if y'all know somebody who is a menopause expert who will come on and talk to us and answer all of our questions. And
even someone who knows a little something would be helpful.
Yeah. Then let us know, because we need to hit some people up because we want to have a show about this. But so anyway, so kind of the same thing that you were talking about, where you're having this conversation with people and, your sister-in-law is like, nobody told me anything. I had a very similar conversation with a friend of mine who's in her 20s. And she's like, I don't know anything. She goes, no one has ever said anything. Because she's like, I want to listen to that show, which that kind of surprised me a little bit, but
not me.
But yeah, she's like, I want to know. She goes, I don't know what to expect. She goes, my mom has told me nothing. Her mom told her nothing. It's crazy. And her mom is about our age, which, makes sense.
Because she knows nothing.
Yeah, so she knows nothing. So there's all these women who are walking, even women who are going through it right now. They're having symptoms that they aren't attributing to menopause because their doctors are like, oh no,
Yeah, but is it? But because
Yeah.
our deep down feeling is, and this is what my sister-in-law said, is she's like, my doctor kind of brushed it off, but
Yep.
my deep down feeling is that this is a symptom of menopause. And they said no, but I
Yep.
know it is.
Yep. And
I
there's all
know.
kinds of weird stuff that is a part of menopause. And even being on the post side of menopause, there's still stuff that we experience
Well, let's talk
that,
about menopause a minute and our
okay,
symptoms stuff.
okay,
So, because your story is way different than mine.
yeah,
The last blood test I had with my doctor before the whole cancer hysterectomy, HPV fiasco or experience, I should say, because it really wasn't that bad.
mm-hmm.
I wasn't even perimenopause when I went in and had my hysterectomy.
Are you
So
sure?
yeah, because I had blood tests and I had only had like
The blood,
two
the blood tests aren't,
accurate. I hear
yeah,
that
they
too.
aren't accurate.
So I had the blood tests, but I had only had like 2 hot flashes in my whole life. I didn't have any symptoms anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
So I go in and I have the hysterectomy. And then after I'm done with the hysterectomy, I don't have any periods, so I can't tell, and I'm not having any hot flashes, but I wanted to go on estrogen. I told you this
mm-hmm. Yeah,
because of some studies that show a possible link, and I don't want to steer people in the wrong direction because just a few studies that I read that showed a link in the drop in estrogen and the loss of gray matter in a woman's brain, leading
mm-hmm.
to a greater possibility of getting Alzheimer's.
Got it. Okay.
And I didn't want to get Alzheimer's. So I talked to my doctor. I had to make the appointment, asked to be put on estrogen. At
Mm-hmm.
that point, she ran all the blood tests. We're going to get to
Yep.
this blood test thing because you're right. She ran all the blood tests and we talked about my risk for breast cancer and all that because it's all interrelated.
Yeah.
And she said, based on the research you've done, the studies I've read, I feel comfortable putting you on estrogen.
Yeah.
So I got on estrogen. Then I had my post hysterectomy appointment with my surgeon.
Okay.
I go into the surgeon. She's doing my post appointment. She goes, "Why are you on estrogen?"
Oh God.
She was angry. And I tell her the story. I'm like, I wanted to be on because and she goes, "Those blood tests don't explain anything." She's like, after you get out of surgery, of course it's going to look like you're in menopause, but we don't know if you're in menopause. You shouldn't be on estrogen. And I was like,
Jesus.
okay. But the tests show I went through menopause. I haven't had any symptoms.
Yeah.
I have no way of knowing I even went through menopause. Am I perimenopausal? Am I menopausal? Am I postmenopausal? I don't know. I don't
Okay.
even
Well,
know.
here are some things that I do know
Okay.
from the reading that I've done, from what I've heard from menopause experts, one of whom is Dr. Jen Gunter.
Yes.
And for people who are interested, yes, we are going to do an episode. We haven't done one yet. In the meantime, go to We Can Do Hard Things. I believe the episodes are April 26th and April 28th.
Damn.
And they are the episode. And literally, I just listened to them again.
Damn.
On Wednesday.
Okay.
Because I posted on Facebook that I was feeling all ragey and menopausey. And one of my friends from work said, "Hey, go listen to these episodes." And I listened to the episodes when they aired, but I went back. But they're the
very
episodes.
Helpful.
They're the episodes that Dr. Jen Gunter was on We Can Do Hard Things. So go back and listen to those people. They are very, 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 very helpful. But so one thing I had learned before listening to those episodes again was perimenopause, the time leading up to the date of your very last period. It can be anywhere from 7 to 10 years, right?
Yes.
Or 5 to 7 years. So it can be a long time. And it can be a multitude of symptoms, some which people don't attribute at all. Then you have the date of your last period, which nobody knows until a year later.
The last one.
Yeah, but the date of your last period, that one day is menopause. that one day. That's menopause.
Yeah, but my uterus was taken out. I didn't have that.
Right. No, but you did. The date of your last period, that was menopause. Boom. That's it. Boom. Then they say that you are menopausal when you've had 1 year from the date of that last period with no periods in between. So then you're menopausal. You're postmenopausal, right? And postmenopausal is basically your life after your last period. Because the terminology is all very clunky, even within the medical community, as says Dr. Jen Gunter, menopause aside from being that one day, is the general term for all of the experience, right? So there are symptoms that can range from something where like burning mouth, which I hadn't heard anybody talk about that.
No,
I have not experienced that, thank God.
Me neither.
Tingling in your hands and feet.
I do know a woman who has that.
I had that where I would feel like there was electricity running through my fingers, and I would be like, oh, I just would have to like shake my hands. And a friend of mine who had it was like, yeah, that's menopause. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? She's like, yeah. She goes, I had it. I just thought I was just having some weird, I thought it was an anxiety thing. I thought it was because I live with anxiety and depression. I thought that was it, right? So
sure,
I chalked it up to that. There's also the hot flashes, which are more than a flash. They can last for many minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't have hot flashes like what I thought they were supposed to be. I would just get all over, just like really hot. And I just thought, I sweat like a man. Who cares? Whatever. It's just me. Then looking back, people are like, no, that was a hot flash. Now that, I haven't had a period in probably like 2.5 years, maybe. I feel like I get hot in my core. Like heat just radiates out from my core. I feel like Iron Man with the thing on his chest that starts to glow.
I haven't had any of that. None of it.
But some women don't have, and I don't get those even very often. But then there's other stuff like migraines, and there's mood swings and weight gain. Yeah, and weight gain. And so I started with the whole midsection weight gain in my 40s, and I never had that. I never had a belly.
Yeah, and that now I do. Everybody I know talks about that it hits the midsection in a way that is different than your body always was before.
Yep. Yeah. And I am a poster child for that, because I never had upper body weight. Do you know what I mean? I was always hourglass, definite waist. I always gained weight in my hips, my thighs, and my butt.
Yeah.
And never, ever had trouble with my waist or my stomach or any of that. And then I'd say maybe late 30s. I saw a picture of myself at a party, and I was sitting on the edge of a sofa, leaning over, talking to somebody. And I saw my shirt, and I was like, that's not my shirt ballooning. That's my belly. Where did that come from?
Okay. All right. Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
I know it's coming.
All right. You said, ugh, when you looked at yourself.
I did. I know that's bad.
That's part of our problem. When I was talking to my friend Tiffany about this, you all know Tiffany from the grief episode. This is a natural process that the female human body goes through, and we have been conditioned to say yuck. So we have millions of women around the world looking at their bodies saying yuck for something that evolution and hormones cause.
Yeah.
This isn't right. And then this is why Tiffany and I did a little experiment when we went on vacation this year. We did a bathing suit photo shoot, and it was extremely uncomfortable for both of us because we have that middle body weight gain. And neither of us likes putting on a bathing suit. It's not comfortable. We don't feel like we look good. By the way, I thought she was great in hers. I didn't think there was a problem, but of course she hated her body in hers.
Yeah.
We went out onto the river. We took photos, lots of them. We took probably 100 photos each in different poses in different places. And then we went and got a bottle of wine. We got cleaned up. We got a bottle of wine. We sat on the couch. And then we just looked at all the photos together. We took time, and we had a rule. If you don't like the photo for whatever reason, you can delete it. You can pause and decide later about it. Or you can be like, yeah, I like that one. Okay. There was some funny ass stuff that happened on that. We laughed and laughed and laughed, but it is somewhat desensitizing, because after you look at it again and again, you're like, oh, okay, this is not bad. This is not ugly. When I look at her, I don't see ugly. When she looks at me, she doesn't see ugly. We only see ugly when we look at ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
Anyway, we laughed, and we kind of got drunk. I'll tell you the truth. We got drunk because this is not an easy exercise to look at your body that way.
It is not.
And then we posted them. We each posted a few pictures of ourselves, and I have never posted a pic. And that's the other thing, is I have never posted a picture of myself where I really didn't like the photo until the trip. And now I do it a lot, because what I've realized is social media is sort of a mask. We post these pictures of ourselves that are like we think is the best of us, and we hide the rest. Like it's like for me, it's always been a belly. So if I don't post it, it's hidden, or if I wear a big shirt over, it's hidden, or if I wear the right outfit, it's hidden.
Yeah.
But I know it's there, and God knows I'll know it's there too. But I'm pretending that you don't know it's there. I'm covering it up. I'm hiding it. So is the fear that if you see my roll, my belly, you won't like me anymore? Well, that's ridiculous. But that's ridiculous, Raquel. You're not going to like me because I have a belly?
God, no.
Exactly. And so the fear, we post all these things, or we wear this mask, we show ourselves in a certain way. But because it's not a completely accurate picture, we then create this fear that, oh, they like me. But if they really knew, if they really knew I had this belly, they all fucking know I have a belly. Come on. If they really knew I had this belly, they wouldn't like me.
Yeah.
That's the fear. It's like way back when you said, if they knew what I was thinking, they wouldn't like me. Because we wear these masks. And I really think that this is the whole meaning of our podcast, is to, for me and you, you want to grow the audience, so do I. But if we never do, if the only thing we do for each other is we shed our masks, we have set each other free.
Yeah.
And if you shed your mask and you're not hiding your thoughts and you're not hiding your belly, then no one can abandon you for the things that you're hiding. You are authentically yourself to the world.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that just made sense.
No, it made perfect sense, but it's a little scary.
Oh,
actually, no, it's a lot scary. It's a lot scary.
It's probably
it is really, really scary.
It's probably the scariest thing any of us ever have to do, because when you're growing up, like my daughter she's a sophomore, and everybody's like, where are you going to go to college? What are you going to do? Who are you going to be? What are you going to be? What are you going to hit? And who, and you're
all the things.
You're 16 and you don't know.
Yeah.
You might have some idea, but you don't know. So we're taught at that age, and even younger, oh, I have to be something. I have to do something. I have to. And so you start on this mask of persona of what you think the world wants you to be. And now I'm starting to think the biggest part of parenting is not that. It's not like, what are your grades? Who are you going to be? What are you going to be? The biggest part of it is, oh, who are you? Who are you? What's the authentic you? What's the authentic Raquel? I want to know the authentic Raquel, so that Raquel and I can truly be friends.
Yeah. Well, that totally makes sense, because, and even in the sense of parenting, even with somebody who doesn't have kids, because little Raquel is still in there.
Oh, hell yeah.
She's still there.
Yes.
She needs parenting still.
Yeah.
In some way, she needs reparenting. She needs to be parented a different way sometimes. And I think that's a huge part of it too, is I have not been paying very much attention to not only have I not been paying attention to little Raquel, I haven't been paying attention to adult Raquel. Like, I literally have just been on the hamster wheel the last, I don't know, couple months for sure.
How can you get off the hamster wheel? What could you do for yourself that wouldn't cause guilt and anxiety and all of that, that would be authentic? How could you step off the hamster wheel?
I need to do more things that help me come down. Even if it's just sitting for 5 minutes and meditating, or journaling, which I am notoriously inconsistent with. Yeah. I've been thinking lately, I want to start doing yoga again. Even if it's just literally like 10 minutes, like get up, do 10 minutes in my pajamas, even just 10 minutes, just work out the kinks and do something to calm my body down and calm my mind down and to just bring everything back in sync.
Yoga with Adrienne online. You can do a paid prescription. You can do a paid subscription. Yeah, because prescriptions are expensive, but
yeah, they are.
You can do a paid subscription, or you can do it for free, and you can. I search by time frames.
Okay.
Because you can go as long as an hour and a half, but you can go as short as like 6 minutes. And sometimes that's all I have is 6 minutes. I really like to do yoga for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's my sweet spot.
Right.
And you can also put in restful or restorative or hot or like whatever you're trying to do that day. And most of the time I find myself putting restorative.
Yeah, I need to do some of that.
I just want to stretch and relax.
I do too. So I need to do some of that. So I think those things will help. It's funny. I just want to, because we keep talking about a mask and not being authentic. And there's a poem that I have liked probably since high school. And you may have heard it before. It's called We Wear the Mask, and it's by Laurence Dunbar. And once I start reading it, I think you may have heard parts of it before. It's funny, I have been a fan of this poem for 40 years probably. And over the last maybe couple months, it's having a different effect for me. Like, it's hitting differently. But anyway, I'll just go ahead and read it. And I think I'll put it in the show notes too, because I think a lot of people can identify with this. And I think it's one of those things that maybe we need to let the mask down more, right? And maybe we can help each other put that mask down, maybe so it's not so hard. But anyway, so here is We Wear the Mask by Laurence Dunbar. Hold on, let me put my glasses on so I can see.
Hold, please.
Hold, please. Let me get my reading glasses. Okay, here we go. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask.
Profound.
Very.
What is hitting you differently than before?
When I first heard that poem, it was in the context of which I think it was written, of Black people being held down, being held back, but not letting the oppressor see what's going on behind the mask. That you present this space of everything's great, everything's fine. You don't get to know that deep inside I am torn apart.
Yeah.
And I took that to heart growing up, that I can't let people know when I'm going through something. And I think I got so good at it that I didn't even necessarily express at home everything that I was going through, which I'm sure in some way didn't help my depression and anxiety at all. And through most of my adulthood, same thing. Don't let anybody see that life is hard, because nobody wants to hear it. People don't need to know that you struggle. You're making them uncomfortable. How dare you make somebody uncomfortable? Life should just be peaches and cream. Over the last few years, and especially the last few months, you're not doing yourself any good generally by keeping that mask up all the time. I mean, I'm not saying, walk around and just be a big hot mess all the time. I mean, I'm not saying that, because life is more than that. Life is richer than that. Life has shit that you want to hide, and life has stuff that you want to celebrate. There's both. We contain myriad, right? There's more to us than just the shit, and there's more to us than just the stuff that we put on Instagram.
Right.
And so I think letting that veil down, letting that mask down, can bring some relief to self, but it can also bring some relief to others. Like when I posted on Facebook that I was feeling all menopausey and ragey, I can't tell you how many people were like, "Oh my God, me too."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but nobody's saying anything. And of course I knew these women were probably going through it, because we're all basically the same age.
Right.
But there were even some guys who were like, "That sucks. I'm sorry." But guys need to know it too.
Mm-hmm.
They live with women in their lives in one way or another, whether it's their partners or their friends or siblings, or just because they live on planet Earth.
Right. Exactly.
And so I think I'm having a different appreciation for this poem now. Like maybe I don't have to carry it as mine so much anymore. I can appreciate it for the spirit in which it was written, but it doesn't have to be my spirit anymore, like it had been. So maybe that's the point of today's episode, is that we don't have to wear a mask. I mean, I'm not saying go and tell everybody your business. You can still be a private human being, but you don't have to bear the whole load all by yourself. So I think this is a lesson for me, and I think more a reminder than a lesson. So thank you for suggesting that we come on and talk about this.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for the therapy.
Thanks for the therapy, Raquel.
Thanks everyone for listening today. We will be back with more Madness Cafe next week. You can find us on Instagram at Madness Cafe Podcast, or email us at madnesscafepodcast@gmail.com. Bye.